Here is the key for this first practice test. We want to do f of negative 1. That means replace all the x's with a negative 1 in parentheses. Make sure you have the parentheses. Mistakes happen there. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. We get negative 3 times a negative 1. That's a 4 plus, or positive 3. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. So we get 1 plus 3 plus 5, which is 9. F of 0 means replace all the x's with zeros in parentheses. That one should be obvious. We get 0, 0. We get 5. We're done. Here we want f of 0 plus f of negative 1. Hey, we already know both of those. We just add them together. 9 plus 5, we get 14. We're done. F of k means replace all the x's with a k. Could put that in parentheses, but the parentheses won't do anything. We're done. Don't try to solve that. Don't try to do anything with it. You're done. X-intercept. Find an x-intercept. We always, in every situation, make y equal to 0. So we get 2x plus 6 times 0 is 0. Solve, we get x equals 12, but intercepts are points, not numbers. So the x-intercept is the point 12, 0. Y-intercept, we always plug in x equals 0. Just do the little cover-up method. 6y equals 24. We get y equals 4. That's the point 0, 4. Okay, slope. We could put this in slope-intercept form. That's probably the cleanest way. So we want to move the 2x over. We'll get 6y equals negative 2x plus 24. Divide everybody by 6. And we get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. Hey, look, there's our y-coordinate of our y-intercept again, and there's our slope. So the slope is negative 1/3. Okay, we want to graph this guy. We got the intercepts. Let's not do anything crazy here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Draw a line through them. We're done. Notice we have a negative slope with a negative slope. Okay, page 2. Solving this system, I would do elimination, add straight down, get 4x equals 12. So x equals 3. And then I would plug into the first equation. So 6 plus y equals 7, y equals 1. There's our solution. You can do elimination on this if you want. I would do substitution because we already have from the first equation x is 5 minus 2y. So we get 3 times 5 minus 2y. Plugging this in for that x. Plus 6y equals 12. Distribute 15 minus 6y plus 6y equals 12. The y's cancel out. We get 15 equals 12. If all your variables cancel out, you probably made a mistake. I didn't. I did everything okay. The fact that I got a false statement here means that these lines never intersect. They're parallel lines, so there's no solution. Okay, domain of this guy. Domain is the set of all allowed inputs. No dividing by 0, no square roots of negatives. Neither one of those scenarios happens here. The domain is negative infinity to infinity. That's the only acceptable answer. Same thing here. No dividing by 0, no square roots of negatives. You can take the cube root of anything. All real numbers. Can't divide by 0. So the denominator, don't care about the top at all. The bottom is not allowed to be 0, so x is not allowed to be negative 4. It's not equal to. That's an interval. -4 is bad. All these guys are good. All those guys are good. This interval here, we always go smallest to largest. Smallest, -infinity to -4. Parentheses, because I don't want to use -4. Union, -4 to infinity. That's the domain of this function. Here, I don't have to worry about dividing by 0, but I do have to worry about square roots of negatives. So take the inside, set it greater than or equal to 0, and solve. That's an interval. If we draw it on a number line, I want to start at 7, have greater than or equal to, so solid dot, and I want everything greater than, so I shade above. That's 7 to infinity. That's a parenthesis there. Okay, next page. Okay, want to do this system of nonlinear inequalities. Let's graph these lines the easy way. This first line, out of focus here. First line has a y-intercept of 0, -1. There's 1 point, -1. Slope is 2, so if I go over 1, up 2, there's another point. I draw my line. Because this says y is greater than, I shade above. Shade everything above that line. Graph this next line. His y-intercept is 0, 4. His slope is -3, so if I go over 1, down 3, I get the same point. Now this guy doesn't have an equal to, so he's going to be a dashed line. And then he says the less than, so I shade under. This is above, this is below. Shade below. This little corner here where I shaded twice is my answer. The picture is the answer. Okay, same kind of game here. Y equals 5 is a horizontal line. That's y equals 5. I want everything above that. X equals 2 is a vertical line. These are both solid because they equals 2. Everything greater than that to the right. The part I shaded twice, this corner up here. Okay, equation of a line between 2 points. We find the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We get 6 over 2. We get a slope of 3. Then y equals mx plus b. I can use either xy pair I want. I'm going to use this one. If I plug in 2 for y, 3 for x, or 3 for m, and 1 for x, I can solve for b. So I get 2 equals 3 plus b, subtract 2 over, b is -1, and then I write my equation. And I think it's always a good idea to check these, especially using the other point that I haven't used yet. So if I plug in a 3, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 1 is 8. I like it. Parallel line. Parallel to this line, our slope is the same as his slope. So the slope is 4, and now I never use that again. Don't care about it. Now I want to use this point in y equals mx plus b. Plug in my y, my m that I just found, and my x value. Solve for b. So 5 is 8 plus b. b is -3. And then I actually write the equation. It's kind of the important part right here. And then I would always check it. Plug in a 2. 8 minus 3 is 5. I like it. Now we want the equation of a perpendicular line. That slope is negative 1/3, so the slope I want is the opposite, positive. And then flip over 1/3 to get 3/1, or just 3. Passing through this point. So again, y equals mx plus b. Plug in your y, plug in your m, plug in your x. I get 6 equals negative 6 plus b, so b equals 12. I now know b and m, so I write the equation of the line. Okay, is this guy a function? Hey, he's got repeated y values. Don't care. Still a function. No repeated x values. Yes, this guy is a function. And for completeness, his domain is the set 1, 2, 3, negative 4. Here's his range, if you wanted to write that out. The reason I can list his domain as individual numbers is because I only have 4 of them. It's not an infinite set. It's just a few numbers. I can list them all out. This guy, that's a line. The fact that it says f of x, by the way, is a pretty good hint that it's a function. That's a function. His domain is all real numbers. I can't list all of them out like I did here because there's an infinite number of them. This guy's not a function. Fails the vertical line test. Okay, here we want to find the slope and the y-intercept. Y-intercept is the easiest, right there. 0, negative 2 is the y-intercept. Intercepts are points, not numbers. For the slope, let's count. If I go over 1, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Slope is 4. Done. Okay, this problem. We have to write out what everything is. So let's let x be the amount in the 3% in dollars. Let y be the amount in the 5%, also in dollars. Now we can write two equations. I've got 10 grand altogether, so x plus y must add up to 10,000. And then my interest, 3% of x plus 5%, that's 0.05, it's a big decimal point right there, of y should equal my total interest, 360. That is a system of equations in 2 variables. We could use substitution, elimination, graphing, whatever we want. I'm going to do substitution. I'm going to say y equals 10,000 minus x and plug that expression in for y. So 0.03x plus 0.05 times 10,000 minus x equals 360. We get 0.03x plus 500 minus 0.05x equals 360. That's negative 0.02x. Move the 500 over, equals negative 140. And we get x equals 7,000. Plugging that back in here, we get y equals 3,000. Now we have to write our sentence. Word problems have word answers. So we say, Dave put, hey, what does x mean? I'm glad I wrote this sentence. X is the amount of money in the 3% account. He put $7,000 in the 3% account. And $3,000, don't forget the dollars, in the 5% account. Okay, last page. With that, if you want. Equation of a vertical line. Vertical lines are always x equals 2. No work to show there. Horizontal lines are y equals 5. No work to show. Here we're finding the equation of a line, so let's just say we jump right in, find the slope. We get 2 over 0. That ain't 0. If you get 0 in the bottom, that means you have an undefined slope, and you hopefully remember that means, hey, I've got a vertical line. And then you remember, oh, vertical lines are x equals a number. What does x equal? X equals 1. X equals 1. X equals 1. You're done. Okay, and then this bake sale problem. We've got cookies and brownies. So let's let C be the number of cookies. Let B be the number of brownies. And we write our two equations. The number of cookies plus brownies should be, I sold 75 items. And then the price of cookies plus 2.5 brownies is my total amount of money, 160.5. I would do substitution, solve this, I don't know, C. It's really not going to matter here. Take that expression, plug it in for C in the other equation. So I get 1.5 times 75 minus B plus 2.5B equals $160.50. Okay, we distribute here. Let me get my calculator out. And distributing, we get 112.5 minus 1.5b plus 2.5b equals 160.5. Combine like terms, I think that's just b, right? Will be 160.5 minus 112.5. And we get b is 48. We should go ahead and find the number of cookies. It's not very hard, right here. C is 75 minus 48, which I think is 27, right? But the question didn't ask for that. It just asked for number of brownies, so we say we sold 48 brownies. Now I, on a problem like this, would then go back and check. I would plug in both of those numbers here. Right here, make sure I do end up with $160.5. But we did this problem in class. We know it's right. Okay, that's it.